Hi, this is Brian.
Jason.
And this is the Perfectly Screwed Podcast, episode 95.
It's a lot.
95. You wanted to talk about Trump, so let me throw a little bit out there about Trump. Because, okay, if you don't know, and if you don't know, you've been living under a rock, that Trump is indicted on 37 federal charges for concealing and,
for stealing information.
Well, no, it's not that, really. It's, he kept documents that were classified. And he keeps saying that the Presidential Act, right, allows him to declassify documents at any time. That's not exactly how it reads. If you look it up, the Presidential Information Act actually reads that as long as the president's in office, he has control of the documents. He can declassify them anytime he wants to. But the moment he leaves office, he's supposed to turn all classified documents over to the National Records place.
Right.
So when the problem is when
it's just like if you left your job right now, you know what I mean, and had important documents, you wouldn't take them with you.
Right, yeah, right. You're supposed to give them back. See, and then recently, okay, and he's trying to throw everybody off of this huge fuck up he's in because they found cocaine in the White House.
Right.
Right. So now, of course, he's like, oh, it's Joe Biden's. It's Joe Biden's cocaine. And there's nobody who said it was Joe Biden's cocaine.
It's probably Hunter Biden's cocaine.
I mean, this is what Trump said on his Truth social media thing. The cocaine probably belonged to Joe Biden. I think they bump him up before his speeches.
He said that?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He said it's Hunter's and probably Joe's. You watch right at the beginning of the speech, he's got a little laugh. By the end of the speech, he can't even find his way off stage.
Dude,
he ain't wrong.
That's so funny.
He ain't wrong.
It's so funny he called it bumping it up.
Which
tells you right there that Trump bumps it up.
Yeah, they bumped him up, buddy.
Oh, absolutely.
Gave him a little.
He's bumping.
Yeah, they give him a little line before the speech. That's why he's coherent.
What you call it? For anybody out there that hasn't done cocaine, when you line out a line, you call it a bump.
Oh, good God.
A speed bump.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's hilarious.
But the whole thing
so
is,
funny.
He's trying to throw everybody off the fact that he's in serious legal trouble. And I feel bad for the guy, really, because he just nosedives himself into the ground. I mean,
he likes it, though.
Oh, he's going to go to jail, probably. It's going to be horrible. And imagine if he gets elected. What are we going to do when the president's incarcerated? And the funny thing is, he said the same thing about Hillary in 2016.
I mean, what really, I don't know. I guess I don't know what good or bad he can do me, whether he's incarcerated or not. I really don't know what the fuck they do.
I don't either.
To be honest with you.
I mean,
other than bumps.
Really, I don't think the president controls much shit anyway.
Bumping it up in the Oval Office.
So, today, guys, we're going to talk about, we kind of started, some of the problems that our country is having right now. We're also going to talk about a few other things about the New World Order and the conspiracy theories of that, which, personally, I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory. I think it's pretty much a fact.
Yeah.
But let's start out with what I was telling you earlier.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a fact, and I actually verified it because I saw a video, and I wanted to verify the video because for our listeners, I'm diligent. I look and try to verify the information before I just spout it out.
You have been doing a lot of diligent work for our viewing audience, other than posting.
Oh yeah, I haven't posted recently.
Yeah,
well, actually, by the time they listen to this, I'll have posted quite a bit. So, anyways, but I did skip a week. Okay, and it's actually not been a whole week because it's only Friday. They just didn't get it on Monday. Okay, it's early and they're getting two
True.
episodes at
I
once,
don't even know
so
what day it is anymore.
they're ready to go. So, anyways, in 1933, at the lowest part of the Great Depression, when people were making the lowest amount this country had known, when most of the people, we had 29% unemployment rate at the time. Poverty level as high as it has ever been. But your average income in 1933 was $4,218.
$4,218. 33.
Yeah, in 1933.
90 years ago.
Right. So, if you take that and put it into a calculator, which they have on the internet, it's called an inflation calculator, which what it does is it takes the amount that you would make in 1933 and it tells you how much you would have to make in 2023 to average the same amount.
Yeah, it's basically telling you 4,233 or whatever.
What it would be
What's
in
that
today's
worth
money.
in today's money?
Right.
Correct.
So today, to make the same amount that they did at the lowest economic point in our country's history, you would have to make around $98,000.
So the average income
Would have to be $98,000 to get close.
Or we could also say in 1933, the average income was $98,000.
Right.
Right.
In their amount of money. So basically what that tells you is that, I don't know about you guys that are listening, but I don't know many people that make $98,000.
It says here the average income in 2017 was $43,000.
Okay, yeah.
So that would have been like $2,000
Right.
in 1933.
Right. So our average income right now is $55,000 to $70,000.
Which would tell you right now, as we stand, we're in a way bigger depression.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make much less money compared to what... So they could buy way more in 1933 at the lowest part of our country's economic history than you can today.
Right.
This is why you have millennials who are in their 30s still living off their parents. Why they can't afford
Right.
to pay for rent. And the problem
It's
with...
hard as fuck.
Well, the problem with this country is that nobody's doing anything about it. And the reason why is because of stagnation. Do you know what stagnation is? You know what inflation is.
Right.
Stagnation, okay, up until 1970, okay, what they did was, when inflation went up, they raised wages to match it. So there was only about a 5% gap in the wage and how much things cost.
Gotcha.
Okay? In fact, people most of the time made more than what things cost. And that's what produced, for the baby boomers, our middle class. Well, in 1970, there was a recession. So they raised the interest rate on housing and loans to 21% to try to deflate the inflation that was happening. But what also happened is they stopped raising wages to that 5% mark. So the price of things got higher, wages stay stagnant or stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
So wages stay stagnant, inflation keeps going up. Things cost more, your wages stay low. Well, to kind of cope with this, they invented something called a credit card, where you could use credit
Right.
and buy stuff, which worked great for the baby boomers because they had great credit. But the problem is that the baby boomers took loans out and took credit cards out, but they couldn't pay them because wages stayed stagnant.
Right. Yeah. So,
So
now they
wages
just have
didn't
more-
match
they
what
have-
inflation
and they have
was.
more payments.
Right, and they have more payments. So what happens is they declare bankruptcy. They totally fucked up our economy.
But they also use the credit to purchase homes.
Correct.
that end up going back, right?
bankrupt.
Wow.
So this was the start of a downhill turn for our country. That is why right now our country is in such a turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
We're becoming what is known as a third world country. We are. And I mean, I love America. I do. I think it's a great country and everything, but I think corruption and greed has destroyed our country.
Well, like I said earlier, there's becoming too far of a gap between people that have the most money and the people that have absolutely nothing.
Right.
And it's becoming dangerous.
Well, it's a bubble at this
people
point.
that have, because there's a lot more people with nothing than people that have over excessive of what they need.
You're right.
And
yeah.
once that, it's like it's like a levee. You know what I'm saying? Once the water breaks, like there's no stopping it. Well, once there becomes so many people that are impoverished, like there's gonna be anarchy at some point.
Well, see, this is the problem. In America, real wages are falling. Productivity has went up, but wages have stayed the same, if not dropped more. Our American companies are not competitive in the global market. Even white-collar jobs are no longer secure. The nation's infrastructure is collapsing. The federal deficit is higher than it's ever been. The health system is a joke.
Yeah.
And the cities are unsafe, the schools are failing, and the gap between rich and poor is widening. Now, that's because, again, when you don't raise wages to match the inflation, okay, what you got is a death of the middle class. Now, see, and unfortunately, the rich people are just now getting...
You got Hunger Games.
Well, the rich people are now getting a taste of it because what's happening is the middle class in this country can no longer afford to buy the things that they're producing.
Right.
So what happens then? You start losing money. Like, okay,
right.
What the place I work for, and I'm not going to name the name, but the place I work for produces food. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Up until last year, they were doing great in cakes. Okay? But cakes have went up. The price of one cake right now is anywhere between $6 and $8 a cake. Well, people can't afford to buy cake because people got to afford eggs and beef, which has also went up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a choice between buying cakes and buying beef and eggs, you got to choose what the beef and eggs.
Right.
So the thing is, our cake sales have bottomed out low. And it's happening everywhere. Mm-hmm. Hostess has just declared chapter, I think it's 11, 11 bankruptcy again. Because the company that bought Hostess is failing. Because when people cannot afford the luxuries,
right,
they have to afford the necessities. And that's what's happening in our country. People can no longer afford, they can barely afford rent. Okay? 30% of the population does not know where their next meal is coming from.
Correct.
We have seniors that are choosing medication or food.
Yeah.
That's insane in a country that once was the greatest country in the world.
It is insane.
I mean, we have the whole eastern part of the world donating themselves to a new currency and denouncing the dollar.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, you bring up a great point that, I don't think a lot of people think deep enough about. Yeah. the more you make me have to pay for, but you don't compensate me for it and adjust accordingly, there's going to come a time, right, when I just simply don't have the money to go out and buy all these products that are being made.
Right. And the problem is that people have tried to sell everybody.
So there has to be a balance. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they tried to sell you on this American dream, but the American dream is dead.
Well, because the other thing is, like you said, it was, back in the 70s when, you have all these credit cards, you know what I mean? Well, now everything's based on credit scores and, things like that, so it's not as easy
Well, did you know,
get loaned money.
Well, not only that, do you know homeowners insurance is based on credit score?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Everything you buy, not only credit now, but things like insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance are based on your credit score. So if you have bad credit, you pay more for things you have to have, like insurance. So now I've got to pay more for insurance because I have no credit.
I got to pay higher interest rates on everything.
Right.
On any loan I get.
Right.
Home
and what does
car
insurance
loan,
have to do
insurance.
with credit? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. What does it? But the fact that it does have something to do with it, you know what I mean? That's another problem.
Well, no, the problem
like I
is,
said, when you have a capitalist society, basically you're giving everybody free reign. Everybody has the same opportunity in this country to go make as much money as they possibly can. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and when the 1% get the power and they get greed, then they take control, basically, over the minds of the masses.
Well, this is why capitalism doesn't work. Look, first of all, there is little or no solution to persistent poverty in capitalism. There isn't.
No.
There isn't. It generates a growing level of income in inequality.
Well, it's balance, dude. You know what I mean? Because like I said, once you give everybody a chance to go out and make as much money as possible, somebody's going to make that money.
Right.
And then you're going to have somebody on the opposite end who has nothing.
Well, see, this is the problem with that. You can't make the money from nothing anymore.
Right.
You used to be able to. Used to, in this country, if you were a butcher and you knew how to be a butcher, you could set up a butcher shop. A little bit of money, you had a butcher shop, you're a butcher.
Right.
You make your living as a butcher. Or you make your living as a hardware salesman or whatever. What has happened is these corporations, your Walmarts, your Lowe's, have destroyed any possibility of you ever succeeding in that aspect.
Correct.
Because you can't do it anymore. You open up a restaurant.
You can't afford it because they're so much cheaper.
Well, not only that. If I was to open up a restaurant right now, okay, I'm competing with McDonald's, Wendy's, Arby's, Burger King, and a nameless slew, Taco Bell. You're competing with all of these people.
Absolutely.
And they have billions of more dollars than you do. And they will crush you.
And to start a business, I mean, unless you're fortunate enough to have the money to start it, you know what I mean? The only way you can start it is to go borrow the money.
Right. But even if you borrow the money, you're going to be crushed within a year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, but like, to start a successful restaurant, like, you're not going to be successful. It's going to take 5-10 years.
And even then, probably not. Because, again, you're competing with Texas Roadhouse, Outback Steakhouse, IHOP. You're competing with some major players that are going to do everything in their power not to lose their money and destroy you. That is the problem. Greed has destroyed this country. Mm-hmm. And the rich keep getting richer. That's the problem right now. But like I told you earlier, 1% of the population has 99% of the money in this country.
Right.
And the rest of us are fighting over that little 1% that they throw off as crumbs.
But see, the other thing is greed is destroying the country. Is
Completely.
one way you can put it. But to me, you could also put it as ignorance is destroying the country. Because the only way that Walmart takes over and Roadhouse and McDonald's, all these places are able to basically take over is because we allow it to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to Brian's fucking restaurant because it's more convenient for me to pull into McDonald's.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going down to Brian's local hardware store. I'm popping into Lowe's.
Right.
I'm not going down to the local grocery store because I can go to Walmart and get everything cheaper. But I'm making the decision, you know what I'm saying, to feed right into corporate hands, to feed right into greed's hands. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
But at
you
the
can look
same
at it either
time,
way.
you look at it this way. Yes, we are the ones that's feeding the beast, but at the same time, it's much more convenient to go to a Walmart
100%.
and get everything you need all at once.
That's what the powers that be have. That's what they've mastered.
Well, not only that, they bought our political system. See, a long time ago, very powerful people in this world realized something. That they could control all the money and make all these businesses, but they couldn't control politics.
Right.
Because we could still vote for laws that stopped their corporate greed. But they figured it out. We'll just buy the politicians.
Well,
and that is what has happened now.
And then the politicians, the government, then controls the education. And that's where it's huge. Because the 1% have the money. The reason the 99% aren't figuring it out is because they're not being educated on how money works. We're taught to go to school, to sit down, to shut the fuck up, and you're not leaving until the bell rings.
Mm-hmm.
And that carries right over into the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Go, you know what I mean? Make your hourly wage, clock in. Can't leave till you clock out. You know what I mean? Got to go get a car. Got to go get a house. Got to have insurance. You know what I'm saying? Got to pay the utilities. Got to pay the gas. Got to pay the internet. Got to pay your cell phone. Got to pay your car insurance. I mean, all of it. You know what I'm saying? And they keep you feeding money in, but they don't teach you how to get money coming back. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I wasn't taught that. It's not taught.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like people go get a house, you get a mortgage on a house. What you're not taught is that the bank doesn't give a fuck about the money. The bank could give a fuck about what do they care about the money? You know what I mean? Money is printed on paper.
Well, did you know
what they see is they want to know, do you have an asset or do you have a liability? Most people think they own a home, they have a mortgage. Hey, this is an asset. No, it's a liability because you're paying money every month out to something where nothing's coming back in.
Right.
Well, what the 1% know that they're not teaching everybody else is if I have an asset, meaning I go get a home and I get a mortgage, but you're renting that home off of me, right? So if I pay $500 a month on this house and you pay me $550 a month, the bank now sees that I have a $50 income every month coming in on this property. It goes from a liability to an asset. Now the bank will loan you more money for another home.
Yeah.
That's how the rich get richer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They accumulate assets. Like the wealthiest people in the world, they don't work for paychecks. They don't have cash. All their money is in assets, right? I have 100 properties that have $100 a month coming in. You know what I mean?
But speaking of education, I want to back up for a second. Did you know that college loans used to be based on the fact when you paid your college loan, it went to the loan itself, not to the interest. You paid the interest at the end. Well, in the 90s, they changed that. Now it's set up like a credit card loan.
Mm.
So now, every time you pay, it goes to interest.
Mm-hmm.
So you never pay down the loan.
Right, exactly.
Your loan will never
Right.
get any lower
Go
because
to-
you're constantly paying the interest.
Go to school, and then you're right. You're taught you need to go to college. You know what I mean? But what's college doing? All college doing is now putting you in debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's putting you immediately in debt to the system.
Because normally, a college-educated person right now with a bachelor's degree starts out at $50,000 a year. If they're in their field for 5 years, they make $70,000. Now let's go back to what I said earlier. 5 years, they're making $70,000, and the
That's still
wage in 1933
still almost 30
compared
grand low.
30 grand low to compare
Of the
to
average.
the lowest income in 1933. That is pathetic.
That's
And that's a
wild.
college educated person. A person like me or you has no chance whatsoever. Making
Right.
45, 50 grand a year, you are the poorest of the poor, and the sad part is our government still doesn't give you any benefits. It's actually more beneficial to make less money in this country and get money off the government
Yep.
through welfare,
That's the
food
other way,
stamps,
right.
and Medicaid than it is to work hard and try to make a life.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Oh, yeah. Right. There's a lot of people that have that choice.
And that should be a choice. I mean,
They're
it's
faced with that choice,
and that is
If-
why our country
Right.
is going to hell.
I've heard a lot. Yeah,
That's why crime is through the roof. Because when you take away people's money and they have no choice but to rob and kill and sell drugs and commit prostitution and do crimes to make money, they're going to do crimes.
gonna do what you got to do.
I mean, if it comes down to me eating and my family eating and me robbing your ass, motherfucker, you're going to get robbed. Because you have all the money and I have nothing.
Correct.
And that's why crime is through the roof.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It is. It's wild. It's scary.
Yeah.
It honestly is scary to think about.
Because our country's sinking deeper and deeper as we go into complete corruption. And the problem is countries like Russia and China, who are socialist, are doing much better.
And like you explained earlier, or to me, I don't think you did it on the episode, but socialism is like you're going to work and you're going to pay a huge wage to the government, right? But in turn, you're going to get a lot of things back.
Yeah, that's why France is socialist, and France has a guaranteed 36-hour work week for all their employees. France has a month off paid for all pregnant mothers. France, if you get sick in France, guess what? Costs you nothing to go to the doctor. You get cancer here and you have no insurance,
Yeah.
you're dead. You have a heart attack here and you have no insurance, you're a dead motherfucker. They don't care.
Oh, absolutely.
Even with insurance,
I mean,
you're getting out of the hospital and you're still paying. You still got
you seen the movie-
$200,000.
You seen the movie John Q?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't just make movies like that for nothing.
No.
You know what I mean? That's true shit. That's true fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to make a choice. If you don't have fucking insurance, or you, not even in that case, it wasn't even that it didn't have insurance. They didn't have the right kind of insurance. They weren't paying the premium price for the premium
Let me explain
insurance.
something to you. Even if you have insurance nowadays, the insurance companies fuck you too.
Oh,
and you get out of the hospital after having a heart attack, they tell you to rest easy, and you owe $200,000.
Right.
What kind of country do we live in when we can't take care of people that are sick? It should not cost $200,000 to go to a fucking hospital because you're dying. It shouldn't. It shouldn't be, oh, well, you have no insurance, so you got cancer, so we're going to let you die.
Right.
And the thing is, they brainwashed us that socialism is so bad that people don't even want to, talk about the fact that socialism is not that bad.
Well, like I said earlier, like they all have the reason, like there's socialism and capitalism and communism, is they're all going to have their good and they're all going to have their bad.
True.
But it just seems like it makes the most sense to do what's best to keep everybody as close to the same as possible. But that's obviously what's not going on.
Again,
like you said, here in America, they're wiping out middle class.
Yeah, you're never going to have socialism in this country. You know why? Because people who have all the money control the government.
Yep.
And the people who have all the money that control the government are never going to allow you to ever get anything.
No.
No. And eventually what's going to happen is this country is going to keep dropping back until we're a third world nation.
It's New World Order, dude. It's all part of a plan.
Well, China's going to take over. China is, look, everything.
It's divide and conquer. It's create chaos.
Yes.
And then bring everything
Well, if
together.
you look at the history of the world, and I'm going to probably end on this because we're almost done, but if you look at the history of the world, countries go in cycles. The Roman Empire, great empire for a little while, decline. Another empire took over.
Yep.
And the same thing happened with England and everything else. England was the biggest power in the world forever, and then they declined. We took over. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And we're in the decline now, and China's in the upswing. So real soon, y'all might as well learn Mandarin because
they already make all your shit.
Yeah, and real soon China's going to take over. And China will be the new world power, and we will just be like England. We'll be a third world country.
Right. Crazy.
But, I mean, that's what happens. Because capitalism is not... Pure capitalism works. Pure socialism works. But the way we do it does not work. And unless somebody fixes it very, very soon, or the American people wake up and start...
Just
demanding...
You gotta stop playing the game.
Right.
Right.
But the problem is, again, it's really hard to stop playing the game when you go to Walmart and everything's right there.
So could be right. Yeah. It's a genius. It's an evil genius fucking setup.
I mean, it's hard to stop playing the game when, like I said, I'm going to Walmart here in a minute.
Right.
Why? Because everything's right at Walmart.
Boom, boom. And I don't even talk to nobody. I grab my shit. I can self-check
Right.
the fuck out.
Otherwise, I got to go to 14 different places. I don't have time for that.
Right.
And why do I have time for that? Because I work too much.
Right.
Right.
To make just enough to go to Walmart.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is episode 95, and we will see you next time.
Later.